This is a NonStop local weather alert.
All right, taking a live look this morning. Take a look at this. The Christmas tree in downtown Spokane near Riverfront Park is blowing in the wind. That's only telling part the story this morning. Thanks for joining us here on Wake Up NonStop Local. I'm Sam Adams.
And I'm Kalai Chalk. We're in the Weather Center right now. Wind is a problem, but you say right now, at this moment, it's thunderstorms.
Yeah, guys, we actually have just had this come down from the National Weather Service. It is a severe thunderstorm alert. And at this time, if you're in that area shaded in tan that's blinking, it is advised that you seek shelter for this area here that is highlighted on your screen. This is a severe thunderstorm alert and warning until 6:15 a.m. So yes, only for about the next 15 minutes or so, but we are seeing gusts upwards of 80 miles per hour possible within this storm cell that's moving through, and even some pea-sized hail. So it could be potentially dangerous because of flying debris in this area here for the next 15 minutes while we're under this severe thunderstorm warning. In fact, I got a message from Sean, who lives down in Lewiston, that he's seen some roofing fly off and into his yard. So that's what we're dealing with as we take a look towards southeast Washington and down on the Palouse. Again, a severe thunderstorm warning in place until 6:15 a.m. That's the latest breaking weather news to get to you. We're seeing right now some of the peak of this storm system as our sustained winds in Spokane are coming from the west here at 43 miles per hour. As we take a look at some of the gusts here, upwards of 55-mile-per-hour gusts is what we are seeing currently in Spokane, and bracing for the information to get through here for the Palouse, or for the LC Valley, I should say, with the latest updated numbers, but seeing upwards of 65-mile-per-hour gusts currently down on the Palouse. So this is what we have been bracing for here. We did see a little bit of a lull in the overnight, but that, again, no reason to stray away from the safety that we've been emphasizing with the peak storm conditions happening as we're on the air. Max wind gusts over the last 24 hours have been upwards of 60 miles per hour for Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, and we've recorded this really just in the last couple of hours. Just before about 4 a.m., Pendleton, Oregon, recording an 81-mile-per-hour gust and seeing upwards of 60-mile-per-hour gusts as well over toward Moses Lake and Wenatchee. So with this, we are bracing to see the potential of downed trees and power outages as those power outage numbers continue to climb as we've been on the air this morning. It's all being brought on by this extreme high wind warning that's really been spanning from central Washington all the way through western Montana, and will actually remain in place here into this afternoon and early evening. Now, the highest gusts that we are expecting to see with this system are happening this morning. As we move forward here, we're seeing those upward of 50-mile-per-hour gusts for Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. Hour by hour here, fast forwarding to 7 a.m., we're still seeing near 60-mile-per-hour gusts possible for Pullman into the LC Valley. We dip a little bit in Spokane, but not out of the woods yet. Here's 8 a.m., continuing to see near 50-mile-per-hour gusts for Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, and even higher gusts toward Ellensburg, Moses Lake, and Cle Elum. And then 9 a.m. here, upwards of 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts again for Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. So really, we're not going to see relief here from this, folks, until we head into this evening and later on tonight. So that's what we're dealing with as you're headed out the door soon. Again, because of that severe thunderstorm alert that's in place for parts of southeast Washington and the LC Valley, it is advised right now to seek shelter, to stay inside until this storm system passes through, just because the blowing debris could potentially be dangerous, as we're also bracing to see the impacts of downed trees and downed power lines. Sam Clay.
All right, and speaking of those wind gusts, people are bracing for it as it hits right now while we're on the air.
All right, let's get to Noah Bolter. He is live this morning. Noah, you're out on the road. Where are you heading, and what are you seeing right now?
Take it. Sam Clay, we're on I-90 heading west. We're about to take the Medical Lake exit, and this weather has been extraordinarily bipolar this morning as we've been standing in it doing our reports. One moment we're wondering if the storm is here yet, the next moment it's raining sideways. I'll show you the roadway here again. Mention I-90. We're about to take this Medical Lake exit in front of us. You don't see any standing pools of water here, but we have noticed them throughout the morning. More towards Spokane Valley is where we saw them earlier. That's also where we saw that single car rollover earlier this morning. But while we were on the South Hill, I mentioned it, we saw items rolling down the street in the wind, and I'm not just talking about a garbage bag. I saw a garbage bag that appeared to be filled with items, but still the wind strong enough to gust it down the road. We've seen loose fences opening because of the wind by itself. We've also seen those trees very heavily blowing in the wind, and during my last live shot, we even saw a knocked over trash can that we don't know exactly what caused it, but it certainly could have been the wind, at least based off what we've seen. So Sam Clyde will check in again in a few minutes, let you know what we're seeing, but for now, that's what we got. Live in Spokane County, Noah Bolter, NonStop Local.
Noah, thank you. We are keeping an eye on those power outages right now. Of course, these numbers have been climbing and climbing and climbing. Right now, these numbers, 38,000 Avista customers, according to their outage map, being impacted right now.
Yeah, and you can see where you are seeing the white stripes in those orange circles. Those are the bigger problem places. Between 100 and 1,000 outages in those specific areas. We're looking down at Lewiston, and you see that Jenny outlined the problem down there in Lewiston, and she's talking to some of our viewers who are saying they're looking at those thunderstorms. So again, this is the wide-ranging power outage map. We're going to continue to track this.
All right, with that, we are going to take a break from our coverage. We are going to get back to Jenny with her forecast as we are in continuing coverage right now with this weather alert. We are following breaking news right now. Of course, we are under this weather alert. We have several 2-hour delays this morning for public schools.
Yeah, into the newsroom, Spokane Public Schools. We're now learning Central Valley delayed as well. And then WSU Pullman, they're saying that they're going to start classes at 10 this morning.
Okay, also Cheney and Davenport also under a 2-hour delay. As those delays are coming in, of course, we'll let you know right away right here on NonStop Local. But with that, we do want to get back to the weather.
Yeah, Jenny, you've been tracking this, preparing us for this storm, and it's all hitting right now.
Yeah, as we speak and as we're on the air, guys, that's why we're under this weather alert.
This is a NonStop Local weather alert.
For you here is we actually have a severe thunderstorm warning that is impacting down on the Palouse, southeast Washington, and into the LC Valley. And so with this, we're bracing to see potentially 80-mile-per-hour gusts. Pea-sized hail is another threat with this, and at this time it is advised that you seek shelter here until 6:15. So we've still got 5 more minutes of this really significant severe thunderstorm warning here that is currently being highlighted on your screen. So at this time, if you can delay getting out to work, if you can stay inside, that is highly advised and recommended. These are a couple of photos that Sean down in Lewiston, Idaho, actually was able to sneak a photo of from his backyard, and he told me that he's been seeing some roofing elements fly out into his backyard, and even this one here getting caught into a tree. So very, very severe conditions are what we're waking up to as we're really seeing the brunt of this storm here. This is why it is advised at this time to stay inside, to seek shelter at least for the next 15 minutes as we're dealing with this severe thunderstorm warning down toward the Palouse and into the LC Valley. Now, we have been seeing extreme winds as we're waking up on this Wednesday morning. Current winds in Spokane are sustained. That's steadily blowing upwards of 40 miles per hour. The Palouse is also getting that, and we're waiting for some of the data to change over for the LC Valley. This is a look at some of the gusts that we're reaching, upwards of 50 miles per hour for Spokane, upwards of 60 miles per hour for Pullman, and we've been seeing upwards of 50 mile per hour gusts through Pendleton and Ellensburg. In fact, early this morning, though, this is what has really been significant, is Pendleton Airport did record an 81 mile per hour gust just before 4 a.m. this morning. We have been seeing gusts, though, upwards of 60 miles per hour for Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, Moses Lake, as well as Wenatchee, and upwards of 50 mile per hour gusts through Ellensburg. Now, the high wind warnings that we've been talking about, they're actually even going to remain in place here until late afternoon, early evening. Although through the morning commute, and as we're on the air with you now, this is going to be the brunt of the storm, the gustiest conditions that we're expected to see out of this system. So as we time this thing out hour by hour and we get you into about 7 a.m. here, we see a very, very slight lull, if you could really even call it that, for Spokane. But gusts are going to be upwards of 50 miles per hour for Moses Lake, Coeur d'Alene, Pullman, and the LC Valley, still even through when many people are headed out for this morning commute. Of course, with the delays that are currently in place for school here, take advantage of that. We're going to watch for these gusts to still remain elevated even through 9 a.m. and we're talking talking upwards of 50 miles per hour for, yes, the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene area, up and over Lookout Pass through Libby, Montana, Lewiston, Idaho, Moses Lake, Ellensburg here, all dealing with these high winds really until we reach this evening. It's not until we head into after sunset that we start to really get some relief from these elevated wind conditions. Current satellite and radar, if that wasn't enough, we did pick up some quick rainfall in the overnight that has led to areas of standing water. In fact, talking of these high winds, we just saw our power flash here in the studio on air. So that's what we're dealing with, folks, as these winds are still continuing to pick up, and we're experiencing those severe thunderstorm warnings south to the Palouse and the LC Valley. This is another thing that we have been dealing with really all week long, and it's flooding concerns. And yes, the flooding concerns are still in place until this evening because of the excessive rainfall, the above average temperatures. Rock and mudslides are also possible, considering how unstable our soil has been, how saturated it has been. That's going to be a concern when we're seeing winds exactly like how we're seeing them this morning. Another anomaly, if you will, with this weather forecast is the National Weather Service out of Seattle, for the 6th time ever, has issued a blizzard warning for parts of the Cascades. Heavy snowfall with those gusts that are upwards of 50 miles per hour is going to make for some extremely difficult travel over the mountains for the day today. The thing with these high winds, though, is that although we're still going to be hanging on to them into this afternoon, it actually blows a lot of the system out east, and we give way to some sunshine even into this afternoon for Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, so drier conditions, but the main focus is still going to be on those elevated winds all the way until this evening as snow churns over the Cascades. But we're going to continue to take a look at the winds here throughout the morning and make sure you're prepared for this. Sam Clay.
Okay, and already since we've been on the air, we are seeing crashes this morning. With that, we want to get to Washington State Patrol Trooper Sergeant Greg Rydell, who joins us now on the phone.
All right, Sergeant, thanks for joining us this morning. First of all, can you give us any perspective on just how many incidents we're seeing right now and how many you're responding to?
Well, right now through the Spokane metro area and down into the Palouse, we have 14 pending incidents, mostly with trees over the roadway. Several incidents. We have a rollover collision down on the Palouse. It's at State Route 195 at milepost 2, and then we have an active collision where a semi is also overturned at 195 at milepost 11. So we do have crews en route to those areas. But as we are getting calls, we're kind of scattered throughout the area with trees going down in the North Spokane area and out on 902 as well as 26.
Have you guys issued any kind of alerts to telling people to stay home this morning, or is it business as usual and people just need to be careful?
Well, I think that people need to use extreme caution. We would suggest, limit your travel. The Department of Transportation has not issued anything out other than high wind warnings. We do have our reader board signs out, and we're just trying to handle the calls as they come in.
Specifically, Sergeant, while we have you on the line, of course, you're dealing with a number of incidents right now, of course, down trees, down power lines. We had one incident where somebody said they were hydroplaning on I-90. Probably the two biggest things we're watching out for this morning, high-profile vehicles with the wind and standing water for hydroplaning?
Absolutely, that you're hitting it right on the head. So the higher vehicles, the larger 4x4 semi-trucks, these high winds, these gusts have a potential to push those vehicles. So we need to lower our speeds, watch our lane travel, and then also watch out for standing water as this rain is coming down and we're having severe weather. That standing water is going to be an absolute danger. So we need to lower our speeds and just use caution and obviously do not drive through the standing water.
Oh, yeah. All right. Great advice. Sergeant Greg Rydell with WSP. Thanks for joining us. We're going to stay in touch with him as we remain on the air this morning because, again, we're going to expect to see more crashes come through this morning, 14 that he says they're covering just right now. Yeah,
and he was talking about a lot of that inside the metro area. Let's go outside the metro right now. Specifically, we want to take you to Spangle right now. Let's get Belle Lewis on the line. Belle, the wind obviously whipping. What are you seeing in Spangle? Because it is roaring right now.
Yeah, hi Sam and Kalai. Like you said, I'm just right outside of Spangle, and we are actually bracing ourselves against those very, very high wind gusts. I just spoke to fire crews on the scene who tell me they've been responding to several of power lines that have been bent or moved by these high winds, some of them caused by tree falls, some of them just from the extreme winds. I'm actually going to step out of frame here. It is a little dark, but I'm going to have my photographer just give you a look, if you can, to see just the angle of some of these power lines that we're looking at. As you can see, it's tilted pretty much at a 30-degree angle. Obviously, those are upright. Now, again, we are bracing ourselves against some very, very high winds. Those fallen trees continue to be an issue as we're talking about power lines. And with these fallen power lines, we could be talking about power outages, but we're going to stay out here, give you updates as we have them. Back to you.
All right, I got a question for you. We just talked to WSP. They were talking about 195. You have to take 195 to get to Spangle. How were the road conditions? Any kind of standing water?
Well, we didn't see any standing water, but again, we were fighting those very, very high winds. So if you are driving down that road, use extra caution. Make sure to stay alert. Make sure you're paying attention to those wind gusts as they're coming across the road.
All right, good advice, Belle. Thank you.
All right, with that, let's continue our team coverage right now as we are under this weather alert. We've got reporters out on the roadways tracking these conditions. Let's go to Noah Bolter. Noah, where are you right now? What are you seeing?
Sam, Kalaya, we're on Saulnave Road, just between Cheney and Medical Lake, and we're here where you can actually see just beyond me a tree actually fell over this morning, and crews have already had to chop it up. Now, they've already been able to get most of it out the road, but as we were driving here, this is Chris Parker. He lives in the area, and Chris, just talk to us about what exactly you're doing.
Well, I heard a pop this morning, so I got up and heard the pop and came out here, and sure enough, the tree's down, so I come out here and I called the cops as quick as I could, and they brought a truck out here, a plow, and plowed it off the road. Then I heard another pop. And so they're coming back out to take care of another tree, hopefully, pretty soon.
Well, and we spoke just a minute ago with a man. He just appeared to be a neighbor, pulled over to help get some of that debris out of the road.
Yeah, he just whipped out his saw and went to work and started chopping it up. And he was here about 5 or 10 minutes, and he was on his way.
And Chris, show us what you got in your hand
I
here.
got a little flash thing here. I came out and put it on the tree. It was across the road, the tree was, and so I put this up there, and hopefully it'll work to keep cars to slow down a little bit.
Well, and this is an area that you say people drive perhaps a little too quick.
Yeah, they drive real fast here. And a lot of trucks come by this area, and they fly by quite often. So it's pretty dangerous. We have moose out here and deer and a little bit of everything, and so you know, you got to slow it down when the weather's and it's dark like this, and you got to bring her down a little bit. But the trees, it's really windy out here.
Yeah, well, and it's been a community effort. Now, I want to show the people at home, just over here, if we step onto the side of the road, this is what those trees are resting in. And this, right now, you'd think December, just over a week until Christmas, this might be a little bit harder because it was cold. You can see that's just acting as mud right now, just because of the extreme warmth that we've been dealing with leading up to this time, which is why there have been the concerns about trees falling. We'll stay on top of it, check back in just a little bit. Live in Spokane County, Noah Bolter, NonStop Local.
All right, Noah, thank you. And with those trees falling, that means fallen power lines as well. You can see the expanded map right now. We've been following these power outages. This is on the Avista outage map since the start of the morning. And I can tell you firsthand, I was looking at this map. We had 13 people without power at about 3:30 in the morning. That number grew in the hundreds about an hour later. Now in the thousands. Now it's in the tens of thousands, Kalai.
Yeah, you're looking at the affected number of customers, 47,950 people in the dark right now. I should say customers. You consider a house, how many people live there. So this could be triple the number of 47,000. You can see it's wide ranging too. I mentioned earlier Sandpoint. That's a big outage place. Also south of Pullman in the Palouse. Also, we're seeing more than 50 outages there. And so, again, these numbers are continuing to rise as the wind whips through. Power lines go down, trees fall on them. We'll continue to look at this throughout the morning.
And we have been hitting kind of like that peak on these wind gusts right now. It's something that obviously public schools are keeping in mind. They want to make sure that students get to school safely this morning. Several school districts on a 2-hour delay. We did mention just a few minutes ago, Spokane Public Schools, Central Valley School Districts on 2-hour delay, and also just into our newsroom, Deer Park is on a delay as well.
All right, we're also seeing Davenport is affected, WSU, Pullman starting at 10 a.m. this morning. And so Deer Park as well at don't know if we've mentioned that one, but several districts, and we're also running that information at the bottom of our screen.
All right, we are going to take a break from our coverage. Of course, we're going to keep you updated throughout the morning as this news breaks, from the outages to the conditions, and to check in with Jenny with those forecasts that are changing by the minute. We'll be
Right now we're under a weather alert and have gotten another breaking news segment to tell you about, because severe thunderstorm warnings have just gone into place for the Silver Valley. This again is something where it is impacting I-90 from 4th of July Pass to Lookout Pass, from Kellogg to Mullen, where we currently have this underway until 7 a.m. Wind gusts potentially up to 80 miles per hour with pea-sized hail. It is advised at this time to seek shelter in this area, and if you are on I-90 here, to pull over and not drive in these kinds of conditions that we're bracing to see here over the next half hour as the severe thunderstorm warning is currently in place. These are almost tornado-like wind speeds that we are bracing to see here along I-90 from Kellogg to Mullen as we speak. Current satellite and radar here, we're picking up some of this severe activity. Not only are we seeing the high winds, but also some rain showers as we speak on this span here from Kellogg to Mullen. So that's where we have a severe thunderstorm warning that has just gone into place. We were just talking about this impacting down on the Palouse and the LC Valley. It has since expired to the south of us. So it's expired for the Palouse. It's now moved up to North Idaho. But these are some of the conditions that come with these severe thunderstorm warnings and why we have been under this weather alert, all in preparation for the conditions that we're waking up to right now. Sean in the Lewis-Clark Valley actually was able to safely sneak me some of these photos this morning of roofing that has flown into his backyard and even gotten caught in some trees here that are near him. So these are the kinds of conditions. If you are under a severe thunderstorm warning area, it is advised that you don't go outside because flying debris, again, could harm you. As far as our current wind speeds go, we are steadily above 40-mile-per-hour wind speeds through Spokane right now, and the data is turning over and over as we continue to monitor this, but gusts have been upwards of 50 miles per hour for Spokane. We've also been catching that through Coeur d'Alene, even though it's dipped a little bit to near 30-mile-per-hour gusts, but we are upwards of 60-mile-per-hour gusts currently down on the Palouse and upwards of 50-mile-per-hour gusts into parts of the lower Columbia Basin. Now, over the last 24 hours, we have been seeing some extremely high gusts, and it's why we are under this weather alert. In fact, just before 4 a.m. this morning, Pendleton, Oregon clocked an 81-mile-per-hour gust down there at the airport, and we have been seeing upwards of 60-mile-per-hour winds in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. High wind warnings remain in place here even into this afternoon, because even though we're experiencing as we speak some of the highest winds of this system, it's still going to be elevated through the morning commute. So here is hour by hour what we're expecting to see. 7 a.m. where our gusts are still going to be up near 50 miles per hour for Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. Some of those highest gusts all for these areas shaded in brown. That does include eastern Washington, south to the Palouse, and through the North Idaho Panhandle as we're watching for upwards of 60-mile-per-hour gusts up and over Lookout Pass. Here's 8 a.m. where we're still dealing with some of these elevated winds. It's going to be closer to just under 50-mile-per-hour winds by 8 a.m., but that's going to be upwards of that over toward Moses Lake and Pullman. And then we jump back again above 50-mile-per-hour winds by 9 a.m. when many people are trying to navigate their morning commute, even though it's changed a lot with a lot of the delays that we are seeing go into place here because of the conditions that we are waking up to. It's not until late afternoon, early evening that we start to see these winds die back down. So even though we're experiencing some of the gusty conditions now, it's not until later on tonight, really after the sun sets, that we'll finally see some relief from this.
This is a non-stop local weather alert.
This just into the newsroom. The National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for the Silver Valley. This area shaded and blinking on your screen here until 7 a.m. as we are bracing to see potentially 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts, pea-sized hail, and at this time it is advised that you seek shelter. These kinds of conditions could potentially be very, very dangerous. We're watching for flying debris, and at this time the National Weather Service has even advised for people to go to the lowest floor of their homes as we could potentially see tornado-like wind gusts in this area under a severe thunderstorm warning. This is going to be a pretty quick moving system, but it is in place until 7 a.m. Again, right now, the National Weather Service urging people to seek shelter and go to the lowest floor of their homes with the conditions that we're bracing to see impact the Silver Valley from Kellogg to Mullen, and that does include the I-90 corridor.
And getting a broader range now, let's get more to breaking news. So many people affected, including school districts that are calling for a 2-hour delay this morning.
All right, that includes Spokane Public Schools, Cheney, and Davenport, as well as Central Valley School District, and just in the last 20 minutes or so, Deer Park as well. We can also tell you that Wazoo Pullman, Washington State University Pullman, will be starting class later today at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, and the hope is that this thing is going to blow through. It's going to give time for people to stay home indoors and then get to school eventually. But Jenny, as you're tracking this forecast, you were calling for this to happen while we were on the air this morning. Things will change throughout the day, but right now you got your eyes on what's happening right now. Yeah, guys, and we're seeing the brunt of this and the strongest conditions of this wind event and this windstorm as we speak. So we have been seeing the impacts region-wide with those school delays. This is a few photos that Sean in the Lewis Clark Valley actually sent me that he was able to safely sneak and take a couple photos of, but roofing blowing through his yard this morning and even getting stuck in some trees. So these are the impacts that we're bracing for as our current winds are upwards of 40 miles per hour in Spokane, as well as down on the Palouse here. We have been even seeing gusts upwards of 55 miles per hour in Spokane. We're even currently, as we speak, seeing upwards of 65 mile per hour wind gusts down toward Pullman. And the biggest concern that we have been so cautious about is, yes, these are very, very high winds, and we have just been seeing such abnormal conditions leading up to what we have been seeing with all of the moisture, the above average temperatures. It's making for very soft soil. And so that's why down trees and these power outages are such a threat when we're seeing conditions like this. Over the last 24 hours, I mean, we have been seeing this morning so far gusts upwards of 60 miles per hour for Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, Pullman, Lewiston, Idaho, Moses Lake, Wenatchee, and even upwards of 80 mile per hour gusts south to Pendleton in northern Oregon. So the high wind warnings, even though we currently are being hit with some of the highest gusts expected as we speak, we actually still have high wind warnings all the way in place here until late afternoon, early evening, because we're still going to be dealing with potentially upwards of 40 mile per hour gusts. So as we get into the timing of this, here's hour by hour. We fast forward a half hour to 7 a.m. We're going to be watching for our gusts in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene still to be near 50 miles per hour, bringing that threat of downed power lines, damaged trees, and also flying debris. That's one of the really big things here to be aware of. Upwards of 60 mile per hour gusts in the next half hour up and over Lookout Pass, where we do have that severe thunderstorm warning currently underway, and why the National Weather Service, with conditions like this, is urging people to go into the lowest floors of their homes here for the next about 24 minutes. As we move forward, these winds are even going to be remaining elevated through about 9 a.m., upwards of 50 miles per hour across eastern Washington and the North Idaho Panhandle. All these areas that are shaded in brown here still seeing those very, very high wind gusts possible. It's not until we head into later afternoon, early evening that we gradually start to see these winds die down. So it is a very volatile situation as we're waking up this morning and seeing really the brunt and the highest winds expected of this windstorm impacting seriously region-wide. Sam Clay.
All right, Jenny, thank you. And again, we are keeping an eye on everything, especially those power outages right now.
All right, let's get to Paul Good. He's with the Director of Electric Operations for Avista. He's joining us on the phone. Good morning, Paul. Your crews are busy. We're looking at 55,000 customers affected by these outages right now.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for having me on. I just first want to say, you know, this is some very dangerous weather we're experiencing coming through our area, and you know, safety is our #1 priority. We want the customers and our crews to be safe. Please never touch or attempt to remove limbs from downed or sagging power lines and treat everything like they're live or energized. Because this is a very, very strong event. If you lose power, check to see if your neighbors have lost power also. Call our 1-800 number, 800-227-9187 to report the outage, or you can also report it on our website at myavista.com/outage, or download our app at Google Play or the App Store. But really, we want folks to heed all the warnings. It is very extreme weather out there, and to please be safe as this passes.
All right, Paul Good is with us from Avista right now. Paul, you mentioned at the very start about safety first. Tell us real quick, if you can, with the crews. Obviously, they're trying to restore power to all these customers right now as safely as possible. Is it safe right now for your crews to be working, restoring power? What kind of conditions are they facing right now?
Right now we're still assessing the damage. As Jenny mentioned in her report there, we're right at the peak of the wind. So at this point, we're really doing some assessing. Once we're able to get the wind peak to pass, then we'll be able to start the restoration. But right now, we're right in the assess mode.
Okay, Paul Good with Avista, thanks for joining us. Really emphasizing safety there. Again, if you see those downed limbs, if you see down power lines, steer clear and report them immediately.
All right, with that, Paul, thank you. Let's take a live look right now at the Avista outage map right now. And we've mentioned since we went on the air this morning, those numbers for outages have been steadily rising. I think the takeaway from our discussion with Paul is please preach patience right now, safety first, not only for your families being impacted, but in the big picture right now. We are through the peak of this weather event, this wind event right now, so I'm assuming these numbers are only going to go up as they try to ride out this storm.
Yeah, and in the meantime, just do the basics. Even if you have your power on at this time, make sure you're collecting those flashlights. One key thing, a lot of people use their garage door to get in and out of the house. Make sure you have a key to the front door in case electricity goes out and you're not able to open that garage. Just things to keep in mind as we prepare for more outages this morning.
All right, with that, let's continue our coverage right now here as we are tracking the weather. Specifically, we're getting out on the roads with our reporters this morning.
Okay, Belle Lewis is on 195 this morning, coming from Spangle back up to the South Hill. What are you seeing now, Belle?
Yeah, we are seeing a lot of really heavy wind. In fact, my photographer just telling me that the video doesn't really do it justice for how much he's having to fight the wind as he's on the road. So again, if you are making that morning commute, if you are taking that time getting into work, leave yourself extra time. Be prepared to deal with extreme wind gusts, and always make sure to stay aware of your surroundings. As we've been on the road, we've made sure to have both hands on the wheel, practice those safe driving practices, especially when you start seeing those big winds. Now, off the side of the road, you are able to see some of the wind moving those trees and branches, but again, the wind not really being shown in video that we've seen, at least so far, doing that justice just because of how extreme it is, especially along these roadways. Back to you, Sam and Clay.
Right, thank you. All right, we want to continue our coverage right now. Again, we've been out and about this morning since we first went on the air. We're sending our reporters into safe situations so they can report what they're seeing. We want to bring in Noah Bolter right now. And Noah, I know it's dangerous out there. We understand now you're at the scene of a car versus a tree.
Yeah, Sam, Kalai, I don't know if you got me. I had to just run over here, so I'm a little bit out of breath. But just down there, there is a car with a driver that, according to WSP, he's uninjured. But a tree was fallen across I-90, and he hit the tree. That tree has since been removed. This is all on the shoulder of the road on I-90, right between Tyler and Medical Lake. But again, a tree fell in the road, a driver hit it. The driver's okay now. The tree has been removed. But this is a scene that WSP says they've been seeing all across our region. Sam, Clyde.
All right, Noah, thanks for that hustle this morning. Again, he's saying that a car had fallen over Interstate 90 between Tyler and Medical Lake. It's just another example of how dangerous things are this morning. Make sure that you take care of yourself, you practice caution, and if necessary, stay home this morning and shelter in place, depending on where you are.
Absolutely, and just word to the wise, too. School districts, they're pausing school right now. They want to make sure that everybody can get safe to their destination. take the same note. If you've got an appointment today that isn't super urgent, maybe call the office, let them know, hey, can I push that appointment back a little bit, because we want to make sure you get to wherever you need to go on time, but also safe this morning.
All right, with that, we're going to take a break. You're watching Nonstop Local, KHQ.
Right now, we've got some breaking weather news. A severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for parts of the Silver Valley, spanning along I-90 from Kellogg to Mullen. This is a potentially destructive storm system that's moving through as we're bracing for potentially up to 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts and seeing pea-sized hail. In fact, this is expected to be so severe and potentially destructive that National Weather Service is advising people to go to the lowest floors of their homes and seek shelter, as we could see flying debris that could potentially be harmful if you are outside without shelter, and we could be seeing major impacts to high-profile vehicles or mobile homes in this area, with tornado-like wind speeds potentially up to near 80 miles per hour. So a severe thunderstorm warning currently in place for this blinking tan area on your screen until 7 a.m. Yes, it's for about the next 15 minutes or so as we watch for this severe storm to move through the area. But that is the latest information that we have for some of this breaking weather news. Our wind speeds that we are experiencing so far this morning while we've been on the air are expected to be some of the most impactful. We currently seeing 37-mile-per-hour sustained winds in the Spokane area, but near 40-mile-per-hour sustained winds down on the Palouse. Our gusts, though, are reaching upwards of 60 miles per hour here in Spokane and higher than 65 miles per hour down on the Palouse. So we're still being faced here with some of the strongest winds of this wind event that we have been talking about for really the past days and preparing you for. Under these conditions, tree damage is likely. We've already been hearing that, and widespread reported power outages as well as downed trees. We have been clocking gusts here upwards of 60 and 65 miles per hour for Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, and Pullman. That was earlier this morning, but we're not out of the woods yet, folks. We have been seeing upwards of 80-mile-per-hour winds, even down toward areas like Pendleton, and 60-mile-per-hour gusts through Moses Lake and Wenatchee, where, yes, I've been getting messages from you even on Facebook that there are down power poles in the Moses Lake area. As we move forward here, the wind advisories, they're going to remain in place, but the impacts that we have been seeing here are definitely widespread. Sean in the Lewis-Clark Valley here, he sent me these photos he was able to take out of his backyard safely, but roofing that has flown into his yard, it's even getting stuck in some nearby trees. These are the kinds of severe conditions that we are waking up to that you need to be prepared for. The wind warnings that we are experiencing, they're even going to be in place here all the way through late afternoon, early evening. Yes, our gusts are going to gradually become a little bit lighter, but still enough where it is going to have the wind warnings in place. So as we're timing this out hour by hour, here's 7 a.m. on the map where we're seeing near 47-mile-per-hour gusts possible for the Spokane area, but really all the portions of our region that are shaded in brown on the map, spanning from eastern Washington through North Idaho, could have the potential of upwards of 50-mile-per-hour gusts. Upwards of 60-mile-per-hour gusts are what we're bracing to see up and over Lookout Pass. Again, these conditions are dangerous for people that drive high-profile vehicles. We've been hearing reports of blown over semis down 195 near Colton because of the severe side winds that we have been seeing and these elevated gusts that are reaching upwards of 70 miles per hour. As we head into the 9 a.m. hour, we're still going to be dealing with these elevated winds across Spokane, Pullman, into Lewiston, as well as through the North Idaho Panhandle. So we won't brace here and really see some relief from these elevated winds until we're heading into about 4-5 p.m. this late afternoon, early evening when the sun goes down. So this is still going to be a wind event even as we move forward after this morning and get through lunch hour and into early afternoon. If that wasn't enough, we're still dealing with flooding concerns here. This has been something that we in the Pacific Northwest have been dealing with for really all week long, and we continue to have the flooding watches and advisories in place here until tonight. And because of the unstable conditions and the high winds that we're currently experiencing, be aware that rock and mudslides could happen. Now, the other anomaly with this weather system is that we have blizzard warnings up and over the Cascades. Extremely difficult travel. In fact, it is not recommended here until about the noon hour because we've seen the transition from heavy rain to heavy snow, plus 50-mile-per-hour gusts are making for blizzard conditions through our mountain passes. Something we'll continue to track for you as we're in the thick of this wind system. Sam, Clay.
Really, the entire state impacted. Here at home, we are tracking school delays this morning. Into the newsroom, we're hearing about the following school districts under 2-hour delays: Spokane Public Schools, Cheney and Davenport, Central Valley, Deer Park, Sprague, Lamont, all running 2 hours late this morning. WSU Pullman isn't starting class until 10.
All right. With that, let's take a look at the outage map right now. In the meantime, this is from Avista. Those numbers have been steadily climbing throughout the morning. They're only getting higher and higher. Right now, it's showing 59,535 affected customers. Really no area to highlight specifically because it's just a wall of dots right now on your screen. You can see those outages really across the inland Northwest. Those numbers have been climbing. We were talking to Avista just in the last half hour. Again, safety, their top priority. They're saying if you're seeing any down power lines, consider everything live. Please be safe out there this morning.
Okay, we've got crews deployed checking out some of the damage that's already occurred this morning. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue nonstop local KHQ with weather alert coverage this morning.
Right now, a severe thunderstorm warning is currently underway for the Silver Valley. It includes I-90 from Kellogg to Mullen, and at this time, the National Weather Service is advising people to go to the lowest floors of their homes and seek shelter because of the severe storm system that's currently moving through, potentially up to 80-mile-per-hour gusts and pea-sized hail. This is in place here for the next 5 minutes until 7 a.m. as we wait for this storm system to move out. Our wind gusts that we have been waking up to are some of the strongest of this system, currently upwards of 60 miles per hour for Spokane, as well as Pullman and down on the Palouse. Be advised that we have been hearing widespread reports of power outages and downed tree limbs and even downed trees themselves. As we move forward here hour by hour, we're going to continue to see these elevated gusts even through 9 a.m. It's not until early evening that we'll see some relief from this. So be aware of this. Make sure that you are staying safe here. Check on your loved ones, and we'll continue to be with you and monitor these conditions through the rest of the morning.
Okay, Jenny, thank you. And in the meantime, we want to make sure that all of you stay safe, heed warnings, and protect your families this morning as we continue to track this storm that's still wreaking havoc, really. Yeah.
With that, we are going to take a quick time out. Our coverage will continue here on Nonstop Local. For those of you watching over the air on traditional television, we'll be bringing you the Today Show. But our coverage continues here on the Nonstop Local streaming app and online.